Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, even if you are, if it's night time where you are. We are going to do a quick video today on the new Dark Angels Codex. Games Workshop very kindly sent me the army box, so we're going to go through the Codex here. I'm also going to go through some of the army models as well at some point. But it is a very, very cool codex, and I just wanted to point out one thing in here as well before we start off. I mean, obviously we've got the gorgeous new models, which we are going to build. We are going to build at some point. Interestingly, the Talon Master is no longer in the codex. So if you do have a Talon Master, I'm sorry, you now can't use it. So you'll have to use it as something else. But one thing, I mean, these ones are company champion jobs. Inner Circle companions are really, really nice. Now, oh, so cool. Right, here we go. There is a very, very cool, check that out. So there's a very, very cool Angels of Defiance, Angels of Vengeance, Consecrators, Guardians of the Covenant, Infiltrator, Blades of Vengeance, and Angels of Redemption. There's some really, really cool little colour schemes for the successor chapters. So that's really, really nice to see, actually. And I do rather like the Guardians of the Covenant. I think they're quite cool, and they're also going to be quite quick to paint as well. Those ones. So interesting there. So yes, the Codex itself is it's quite small. It's quite short. It's quite thin, as all the kind of supplements have been recently. But it is very, very cool. There's plenty of lore in it. However, especially with the colour schemes down there, I thought it was really cool. Let's go through and have a look at, not the combat patrols, we're going to have a look at the army rules. Now, there are a few changes we're going to go through very, very quickly. We're going to go through the army rules, we're going to go through the detachments, and then the data sheets. There haven't been that many changes in the data sheets. There's just like a few here and there, like somebody's got an additional ability and things. Grim Resolve has actually not changed. So Grim Resolve is while an Adeptus Astartes unit from your army is battle shocked, the objective control characteristic stays at 1 rather than going down to 0, which is really, really useful and really, really cool. That's the one that everybody's been using for the Dark Angels from the indexes, which is fine. The enhancements are pretty much all the same. They have oddly changed the weapons of the First Legion. That one used to be called Heavenfall Blade. Now, why you would change a weapon that sounds as cool as the Heavenfall Blade to weapons of the First Legion, I don't know. But like, it does exactly the same. So Shroud of Heroes, we'll go through the enhancements. If you don't know what the indexes are, we'll go through the enhancements here anyway. So Shroud of Heroes is the first time the bearer is destroyed on a roll a d6 on a 2+, they get back up again, which is really, really cool. And not within engagement range, and if the bearer was battle shocked when it was destroyed, it is instead returned with all its wounds remaining, rather than just 3 normally. So quite cool. If you're battle shocked, then you get all of the wounds back, protecting. Stubborn Tenacity, again it's exactly the same as the one in the index. Adeptus Astartes model only, while the bearer is leading a unit. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll, and if it's below the starting strength, then you can add 1 to the wound roll as well. They've started doing this kind of below starting strength thing a little bit more now. I'm not entirely sure about it. It's all right. Generally, units tend to get wiped out rather than just like plicked off, so it's all right. And if it's battle shocked and below its starting strength, so you've got to battle shock it as well. Weapons of the First Legion or the Heavenfall Blade. Gives you +1 attack, strength and damage, which is very, very cool. And if the bearer is battle shocked, you add 2 to the attack, strength and damage of the weapon instead, which is very, very cool. And then the Pennant of Remembrance is an ancient model only. This is going to be a big banner. While the bearer is leading a unit, models in that unit have a Feel No Pain 6+, which is really, really cool. While it's battle shocked, they have a 4+ Feel No Pain instead. Excellent. And then the stratagems, you'll get Armour of Contempt. Armour of Contempt hasn't changed. It's exactly the same as it was before. Worse than the armour penetration characteristic of the attack by 1 when you get shot at. You've got Unforgiven Fury, which targets 1 Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight, and then you give them lethal hits. And then in addition, if they are battle shocked, then they can crit on a 5+ to hit, which is very, very cool as well. Intractable. So it's in your movement phase just after an Adeptus Astartes unit has fallen back. They are then able to declare a charge as well. So you can fall back and charge, which is cool. Fire Discipline is an Adeptus Astartes unit, and you give them Assault, Heavy, and Ignores cover. Give them all those keywords, which is great. Grim Retribution. It's in the shooting phase. You pick in your opponent's shooting phase, you pick an Adeptus Astartes unit that has had one or more models destroyed as a result of the attack, and the unit can shoot as if it was your shooting phase, but you have to shoot back at the unit that killed that model. And then finally, Unbreakable Lines. It's in your opponent's charge phase just after an enemy unit ends a charge move, and one Adeptus Astartes unit from your army within engagement range of that enemy unit until the end of the turn. Each time an attack targets the unit, subtract 1 from the wound roll. So that is Grim Resolve. It's still good. It's still got some cool stratagems. It's not really changed much in there. The other two, so we have the Inner Circle Task Force, which is the Deathwing, and then we have the Company of Hunters, which is the Raven Wing. So we've got the Deathwing, the Raven Wing, and then if you like, you've got the Green Wing from the Grim Resolve. So the Deathwing, how is a Deathwing? What's a Deathwing going to be? Right, so the Deathwing detachment bases itself all around a vowed objective marker. So at the start of your command phase, so each turn, start of your command phase, you select one objective marker. That objective marker is then going to be your vowed objective marker, and you're going to get different buffs depending on what's happening around that objective marker. So each time a Deathwing infantry unit from your army makes an attack that targets a unit within range of that objective marker, you can add 1 to the wound roll. So that's really, really cool. Good for clearing out those kind of particular objectives when you're kind of vying, because you tend to be holding like 2s, holding a couple, and then when you're trying to push for holding that 3, then you're getting that +1 to wound, which is going to be useful. It's only infantry though, so you're not going to get it on your land speeders and things like that. So yeah, lots and lots of Deathwing on this. So Champion of the Deathwing, these are the enhancements. So it's the Deathwing model only, and you get lethal hits. And if you are targeting something that's on a vowed objective marker, then they are going to get critical hits on a 5+, which is cool. You've got Eye of the Unseen, which is a Deathwing model only again. All of these are Deathwing models only, obviously. Each time you target a bearer's unit with a stratagem on a, is it 5+? 5+, you get the command point back, which is cool. Singular Will, we'll have a look at the stratagems and see if that's going to be kind of worth it. Some of the stratagems are really, really good in there, so it might be a beneficial thing, and obviously you're going to be using Armour of Contempt as often as you can as well, so it's good. Singular Will, Deathwing model only. Each time the bearer's unit piles in, you can pile in a further 3 inches. So that's good, particularly good for the Terminators because they're slightly slow moving, so if you can make that charge, you can kind of wrap and just get a little bit further in on the movement, so that's useful. And then Deathwing Assault is Deathwing model with Deep Strike only. The bearer's unit can be set up with Deep Strike ability in your reinforcement step of your first, second or third movement phase regardless of the mission rule. So that's really, really cool. So you can come down in the first turn, which is great. Right, so you get Armour of Contempt for the stratagems. Again, exactly the same. You get Martial Mastery. So this is in the fight phase. This is 1 command point. It's an epic deed stratagem. 1 Deathwing infantry unit from your army that has not been selected to fight until the end of the phase. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, you can re-roll a wound roll of a 1. If it's on a vowed target, you can re-roll the wound roll completely. Just re-roll the whole wound roll. So you are already re-rolling. You're already adding 1 to the wound roll if they're on the vowed target, and then if you're Deathwing infantry for 1 command point, you can re-roll the whole wound roll as well, which is really, really cool. Duty unto Death. Again, it's a strategic ploy stratagem this time. It's 1 command point again, and this is in the fight phase just after the enemy has selected a target, and you're picking a Deathwing unit, obviously, and then until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit is destroyed, that model has fought, then roll a d6, and they are 4+ fight on death, which is very, very cool. Particularly useful for things like the Deathwing Knights, which actually hit quite hard. They've had a little bit of a tweak on the damage, but they do still hit quite hard. Relic Teleportarium. This is in your movement phase, and you can now, when you're coming in from deep strike, you can set up 3 inches away, which is very, very cool. So that's fine. You can, boom, come in, steal some objectives, particularly with the Deathwing Knights and things, because they are slightly more objective control. And then if you're picking your vowed objective as well, you'll be clearing them all off the objective. So Relic Teleportarium, which is very, very cool. Wrath of the Lion is the one that's sat behind me. Haha! I'm hiding this one. But this is in your charge phase, and it's a Deathwing infantry unit from your army that has just ended a charge move, and you can select an enemy unit within engagement range of that unit and roll a d6 for every model, and adding 1 to the result if it's on your vowed objective. And on a 4+, you suffer a mortal wound. So you're charging in, 4+, you suffer a mortal wound. If they're on the vowed objective, 3+, they're going to be suffering a mortal wound. And that's for every enemy model in your unit. So if you have a unit of 10, then you're going to be rolling 10 dice. That's pretty cool. And then the final one is Unmatched Fortitude. And then this is in the shooting phase, just after an enemy has selected its target. And 1 Deathwing unit from your army that was selected. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets a unit, if the strength characteristic is greater than the target's toughness, then you're subtracting 1 from the wound roll, which is great. Liking that. Okay, let's have a look at the Ravenwing. So, Ravenwing have a detachment rule called Masters of Maneuver. Lots and lots of bikers. Yeah, I still can't decide about the Ravenwing stuff, because like the Primaris get Outriders, but the Outriders are classic Primaris of, here you go, you can only have this weapon. So they're just Outriders, they're just bikes with bolters, and I think it sucks. But anyway, at least you can have Black Knights, so you can have some Black Knights in here. Right, so the detachment rule for this one is Adeptus Astartes units from your army are eligible to shoot when they advance or fall back. So they're always shooting, always be shooting. Rather than always be charging. Your army can include Dark Angels units, but cannot include any Adeptus Astartes units drawn from any other chapter. That's exactly the same as all the other ones. And then Outrider units from your army gain battle line. So you can suddenly have battle line for your Outriders, which is great. So you can have 6 units of Outriders if you want to. Again, why would you? It's just bikes with bolters. Right, but you can have Black Knights. So let's get some Black Knights in there. At least you can have like a couple of units of battle line, and then like of the Outriders, and then you kind of top them up with the Black Knights. Anyway, Mastercrafted weapon. We have mounted Mastercrafted weapon. That's it. Like we had the Heavenfall blade, which they replaced and changed. What's happened with the thematic weapon names? Come on, Games Workshop. Mastercrafted weapon, Ravenwing model only, and you get precision. So charging in with a unit of Black Knights with a character on the bike, choom, choom, take it out with precision, which is very, very cool. Mounted Strategist, and this is able to declare a charge in which it advanced or fell back, and then with a detachment rule you can fall back, shoot, and charge. Then, so you can that's quite cool. Liking that one. Master of Maneuver. Is if the bearer's unit starts the battle in strategic reserves, its points value does not count, so you can put more stuff in strategic reserve, which is great. Keeps your assets protected, so you don't have to put as many assets on the table. You can hide them in more ruins, and you can be a little bit more flexible going forwards into the game. Like that one, it's very, very cool. And then Recon Hunter, you can get 9-inch scouts with some Ravenwing. Now that's very, very cool. Obviously put some pressure on really, really early, move up into that central L shape, get some pressure on the central objective, or even onto their objective or their deployment zone. Really, really cool. Stick that on like a massive big unit of Black Knights or something, and really push forward. Okay, so we've got 6 stratagems again. One of them is still Armour of Contempt. Why that one's not up here, I don't know, but hey, who cares? So we have Hunter's Trail. This is in the command phase. You are picking a Ravenwing mounted unit from your army that is within range of an objective marker that you control. So this is going to be probably No Man's Land or your own one. And then the objective marker remains under your control even if you have no models within range of it. So 1 command point, sticky objective, so you can like safely move off your back objective. So really useful in the first turn. Particularly if you don't want to like have those little units that are just sitting at the back of the army, like helpful for or being shot at and killed by, and then an Incarn appearing up there and stuff like that. Anyway, so yeah, Hunter's Trail, sticky objective for 1 command point. Great. Armour of Contempt, as always. Talon Strike. This is in your shooting phase or your fight phase, and you pick a mounted unit. And until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack of an infantry character or a mounted character, add 1 to the wound roll. So you're really doing perfect precision and taking out some characters. That's alright, I suppose. You do get some precision stuff, particularly with the mastercrafted weapon, so you can kind of go in, pay an extra command point, and you're adding to the wound roll when you're fighting with your little mastercrafted weapon, not the Heavenfall blade, just a mastercrafted weapon. Anyway, Death on the Wing. This is 1 Ravenwing army from 1 Ravenwing unit from your army that has just shot, and this is that unit. You select the unit that you've just shot at, and that unit must immediately take a battle shock test. When doing so, if 1 or more Ravenwing units are within 6 inches, -1 from the test. So very cool, particularly if you're trying to take over some of the No Man's Land's objectives. Suddenly force a battle shock test. They're now battle shocked. They don't control the objective. You've taken 5 points off them in their primary. Very cool. High speed focus. When your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit has been selected for its targets, 1 Ravenwing unit from your army that was selected until the end of the phase, you're -1 to hit. So lightning fast reactions. High speed focus, -1 to hit. Rapid reappraisal is at the end of your opponent's fight phase. You can take 1 Ravenwing army, 1 Ravenwing unit that is not within engagement range, and remove it. Just pull it straight off. Very cool. Liking that. So I do like this. I think this detachment is very cool. I think both of these detachments are quite cool. I do like the Inner Circle Task Force, mainly because I like the idea of like just massive Terminators just coming down, just Terminator units, bang, 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 dropping in 3 inches away from everybody, just causing havoc, re-rolling everything and getting +1s to wound. I think this is cool, particularly with the new Deathwing Knights. I think the Deathwing Knights look amazing as well. They just look chunky as hell. And then this one, it's really quick. It's just the fact that there's a lack of choice for the biker units. Like the Outriders, unless I can find something really cool to make the Outriders better, I'm just not sold on this one. Black Knights, Black Knight Company Command, and things like that, and then the Talon, well, not the Talon Master because the Talon Master's not there, but the Land Speeders, and then obviously Samael as well. I think you could have some fun with that one. I think this one's going to be really cool. So let's have a look at some data sheets. Now the data sheets. So the Lion, it has a little bit of a change. The Emperor's Shield, which used to be -1 to wound, now it's just rebounding the wound. So that's good to know. A little bit of a kind of a tweak on that. It makes him slightly less tanky, I suppose. That's the only change on this guy. So you get to pick one of the auras at the beginning of your command phase, and yeah, he's cool. So the Inner Circle Companions, however, these guys are new. These guys are rather awesome. So they are movement 6, toughness 4. They've got 3 wounds and a 3-up save. And they are OC2, so objective control 2, and they do have a Brazier of Judgment. So while a character model is leading this unit, each time an attack targets a unit, -1 to hit. Don't know why. Rather cool though. They've got smoke covering them, I suppose. And then Enmity of the Unworthy. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets a character, add 1 to the hit roll. Very cool. Nice character sniping. So they have a Calibanite Greatsword, and you can either strike or sweep with it. Striking gives you lethal hits, and sweep gives you sustained hits too. You both get 4 attacks, and they are strength 6, armor piercing, armor penetration -1, and then damage 2 on the strike and damage 1 on the sweep, which is fair enough. And they've also got a heavy bolt pistol. I do like these. I think they look amazing as well. They just look so cool. Apart from the swords, if you replace the swords with something cooler, like give them some. One of my favourite things to do is use the Bladegeist Revenants from Age of Sigmar. Cut those swords off and put them on So I like using those swords for like long swords for things like this. So I think these are going to look really, really cool with those long swords. I want to build these. I want to kind of incorporate them into my Dark Pharaons. I just need to kind of come up with a way of doing that. We shall see. Azrael, exactly the same. So he has sustained hits 1 when he's leading a unit, and he gives your army a command point. He's exactly the same. Nothing has changed on him. He has a Sword of Secrets, which has got devastating wounds. And then Asmodai. Now, Asmodai has had a change. So Asmodai now only has 1 attack, so he doesn't have the extra attacks. He used to have a Power Sword and a Crozius, and one of them gave you extra attacks. Now you have to pick, so it's a Crozius and a power weapon, and you can either strike with both or sweep with both. The strike is damage 2 at strength 6, minus 2 AP, and then the sweep is strength 5, minus 2, but it's only damage 1. And then you get 5 attacks with the strike and 8 attacks with the sweep. So he's doing all right there. His abilities are exactly the same. He's got Exemplar of Hate. So while he's leading a unit, you can re-roll hits. And he's got Feared Interrogator. So at the start of the fight phase, each enemy character unit within 6 inches must take a battle shock test, subtracting 1 from the result. In addition, each time the model destroys an enemy character, you gain an extra command point. So Asmodai is going character hunting. Again, interestingly, he doesn't have precision or anything. Belial, gorgeous new model, really like it. Hashtag torso twist, way. So he's got Sword of Silence, which does have precision, as does his Mastercrafted Bolt Pistol, which is damage 2. Interestingly, yeah, Asmodai has also got an extra AP on his Bolt Pistol, and it's gone up to 18-inch range. So it used to be 12-inch and 0 AP, and now it is 18 inches with minus 1. However, the Mastercrafted Bolt Pistol that Belial has is damage 2, but no AP on him, so whatever. He is the Grand Master of the Deathwing, so while this model is leading a unit, if a critical hit is scored, that attack has a precision ability, so if you do get a crit when you're attacking with your six attacks in the unit as well, then you can get precision and put those on the character as well, which is quite cool. So Strikes of Retribution, each time a melee attack is allocated to this model after the attacking unit has finished making its attacks. On a 4+, they take a mortal wound. Now, I think that has changed. I think it used to be a 2+ before, so you can roll up to a maximum of 6d6. And I think that used to be a 2+, now it's a 4+, which is fair enough, slight little bit of a change. And then Ezekiel. Now, there was a little bit of a kind of a rumor mill going around that we were going to get a new Ezekiel model. That is the old one, so I'm guessing we're not going to get a new Ezekiel model. Sad, because I really like him. He's awesome because he's got the Deliverer. He's got the Deliverer and then Traitor's Bane. So the Deliverer is strength 4, AP -1, and damage 2, which is great. Only 12-inch range though, so he hasn't had the buff of Asmodai. But he does have a Psychic Hood, so he's got Feel No Pain 4+ against psychic attacks. And in your shooting phase, you can select an enemy unit within 18-inch, and you must take a Battle Shock test. Now, these are really, really cool. Obviously, you can only take 1 Ezekiel. It's not like Tyranids, where you can take lots and lots of the Lictors and force lots of Battle Shock tests. But forcing Battle Shock tests is really useful, really helpful, particularly when you're trying to take an objective back off them, or if you're just trying to kind of charge into a Terminator unit, for instance. You want to force them to take a Battle Shock test, get them Battle Shocked, and then they can't use stratagems on them. So, yeah, very cool. Right. Samael. Again, no change on any of the stats or anything like that. He's Grandmaster of the Raven Wing, so while he's leading a unit, you can charge in the same turn that you advance. So advance and charge on this guy. Obviously, if you're putting him in the Raven Wing detachment, then he can fall back and shoot, fall back and charge as well, and advance and charge. Shoot. Fall back, advance, and shoot. Lazarus, exactly the same. He hasn't changed at all. He's got Enmity's Edge, which is Anti-Psycho 2+, and he's got Intraceable Will. So while he's leading a unit on a 4+, they fight on death. Now, there is no Deathwing character, So you can't have a normal Deathwing character. There's no Deathwing character that you can create here. And as you can see, there is also no Talon Master. So there's no Talon Master. We go straight into the Deathwing Terminator squads and the Deathwing Knights. Now, there's not a lot of change with these two. They now both have teleport homers. So the Deathwing Knights and the Deathwing Terminator squads now both have teleport homers, so you can drop that token down and then you can rapid ingress to that point. And that's pretty much it for these. They are stunning new models. These guys are really, really cool as well. They look phenomenal, proper fill out, like the chunkiness of the new Terminators. They look amazing. Now, they have the Great Weapon of the Unforgiven, which is the old flail. I think it was the flail of the Unforgiven, maybe. But it's got exactly the same stat line. The Mace of Absolution, however, has gone down to damage 2. So it was damage 3. So the Mace of Absolution has now gone down 1 damage. Still really, really cool. They've got Inner Circle of the Deathwing Knights, so it's -1 damage from the attack for those guys, and they do have a little watcher as well. So once per battle, in any phase, this unit can summon a watcher in the dark. When it does, until the end of the phase, models in this unit have Feel No Pain 4+ against mortal wounds, and that's exactly the same with the Deathwing Terminators as well. They can have the little watchers in the dark as well. Awesome. Ravenwing Command Squad and Ravenwing Black Knights. Again, there's no change on these ones at all. There is a slight change to the Ravenwing Command Squad. The Ravenwing Command Squad now only has a Ravenwing Champion, Apothecary, and an Ancient. You can't have any extra Black Knights in there. So the Command Squad is literally just that. So they can join Black Knights or Outriders, but you can't bulk out this squad and have them running around on their own, or bulk out the squad and then have them join something else. So this is just a unit of 3 now. So they have combat weapons and mastercrafted power weapons, and then they can go in Black Knights or Outriders. Now the Black Knights, again, they're exactly the same. You can have up to 6 Black Knights with the Huntmaster in there, and they can take Plasma Talons. For every model has a bolt pistol, Plasma Talon, and a Black Knight combat weapon, and for every 3 models in the unit, 1 model can replace the Plasma Talon with an Astartes grenade launcher. Honestly, you'd probably keep the Plasma Talon. Just kind of lean into the Plasma lore. And here we go. So these are the 2 land speeders that you get. So you get the Dark Shroud and the Land Speeder Vengeance. The Dark Shroud still has its cover attack, or the cover bubble. So while a friendly Adeptus Astartes unit is within 6 inches, models have the stealth ability, and each time a ranged attack targets the unit, they have the benefit of cover for the attack, which is great. And then the Land Speeder Vengeance has the Storm of Vengeance still, so that same ability. Once per turn in your opponent's shooting phase, when another friendly Astartes unit is within 6 inches and is destroyed, 1 model from your army with this ability can use it. If it does so after the attacking is finished, and this model can shoot as if it were your shooting attack, but it has to target the enemy unit that shot and killed that model. And then we have the Dark Talon and the Nephilim Jet Fighter. Now the Dark Talon has had a slight rewording in the Stasis Bomb, but it's just to make things a little bit easier. So it's just once per turn, 1 model from your army with this ability. So that's the kind of the standard little intro line now, so that you don't have to say this can only be done once per turn by 1 model thing down at the bottom. So that's just made things a little bit easier to read. And that is the last bit. So that is everything. That's all the stuff. Obviously we've got some Crusade rules in here as well. That's everything in the Dark Angels supplement. I do think it's cool. I want to write a Inner Circle Task Force detachment and see how that looks. See what one would look like. And obviously try and get a Land Raider in there. Get a nice big unit of probably Deathwing Knights kind of jumping out of that Land Raider, something like that. So they are going to be really, really cool in there. And then I'm really curious to see how the Company of Hunters actually kind of plays on the battlefield. Again, Outriders just don't do anything, so I don't know how you're going to kind of fill out the rest of the army. Maybe the Black Knights. I'm guessing the points aren't going to be in here. I'm guessing the points are going to be different, but the Black Knights are in here. The Ravenwing Black Knights are 115 points for 3 models, 230 for 6, 700 points for 18 Black Knights. I suppose isn't too bad, but again, what are you going to fill the rest of the army out with? So yeah, let me know what you think about the Ravenwing one. If you can come up with some cool army scheme and idea and theme, that would be really cool to see, and see just mainly just to see how you kind of fill out the 2,000 points. But I do want to do a Deathwing one. Obviously, it's going to be for my Dark Pharaons, so the Dark Pharaons will use these rules. I'm still kind of trying to come up with a slight tweak on my Dark Pharaons to make them a little bit more unique. I want to kind of play around with some sculpting and kind of really push what I can do with a Space Marine army. So we will see how that transpires in this. And hopefully this will be the first of many supplements that we will see. So thank you very much. Thank you for watching. I am sure I will be live on Twitch talking about this at some point very soon as well. So if you want to come and hang out in there, that is twitch.tv/Chris Frossin. Killing all the Tau. Yes, kill the Tau. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Frossin as well. Please drop a comment and a like down below, and I will see you for the next Chaos Space Marine. No, I won't make the joke. I will see you in the next video. Thanks very much to everybody. Take care, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.